So Bethan, 2021, how big a year has it been for decarbonisation?
2021 has felt huge for decarbonisation of housing in Wales. This is the year that we've started to see the Welsh Government put its money where its mouth is in terms of helping the social sector to reach decarbonisation targets. And that's both through the social housing grant and through the optimised retrofit programme as well. So it feels really positive.
Now, talk us through some of those targets. There's a 20,000 homes target, which is, I suppose that's kind of the big one, isn't it?
Absolutely. 20,000 new affordable social homes. It's huge, it's a real challenge. But we this year saw the Welsh Government commit 50 million on top of the 250 million that the social housing grant already had, which is 4 times the amount that we saw in 2016. So we're starting to see the Welsh Government back it up with the investment that it's needed. But yeah, it's a huge challenge, but one that the social housing sector is really ambitious to meet.
I mean, decarbonisation, I suppose, I'm always pestering you about this, aren't I? But it is kind of one of the top, if not the top sort of agenda, big ticket item. We're all talking about decarbonisation, sustainability, climate change, that sort of thing. How much do you think that has helped the cause when it comes to decarbonisation? The fact that we're all doing our bit individually, how do you think that's helped with the wider narrative when it comes to us as a sector putting it right at the top of the agenda?
It's definitely helped. It's an issue. Climate change is an issue that it's going to affect every single person, every single country, every single industry. And we know that housing plays a key part in reaching those decarbonisation targets. The way that we heat our homes, the way that we cook our dinners, that all contributes to climate change. So yeah, it's huge, and the housing sector recognises the part that it can play. So we are ambitious to reach those targets, and whether that's through retrofitting existing homes or whether that's through building new homes, but also in the way that housing associations run their businesses and the way that they run their services and yeah.
Because there is a big drive, isn't there, within the sector in carbon literacy. You know, getting people to understand the impact of not only their behaviours on climate change, but also their organisation's impact on climate change. I did a course on carbon literacy recently, actually. It is enlightening, and you probably did similar.
I did, and it's so interesting because you can really see the impact that you as an individual make on climate change, but also the small steps that you can take to help the issue. And I think that's one of the challenges here. It's not only getting housing associations on board, it's not just chief executives or directors, it's officers, and it's also tenants. So getting tenants on board. Tenants are the ones that are going to have to put up with a bit of disruption to their homes to get their heat pumps installed and to get their insulation installed, and that's a real challenge, and that's something that housing associations recognise and are working towards getting tenants on board.
I suppose it also impacts future builds, doesn't it, with sort of new housing standards. You know, the decarbonisation is intrinsic within that. You know, it's woven into the standards that homes should be built into, as a way not only of obviously the carbon footprint of construction going down, but enabling tenants to play their part as well.
Exactly, and there's a range of different benefits. You know, climate change sets the timescale, it sets the urgency that we need to do this work. But actually, there are so many different benefits that we get from retrofitting our homes to low carbon standards. So as you say, bills can be more affordable, our homes can be warmer, there'd be less problems with those homes, whether it's kind of damp and mould or cold homes. And also having and living in a warm home, it can help someone's health, it can tackle fuel poverty, and also by building and retrofitting these homes, you're creating thousands of jobs and supporting thousands of local supply chains in your local community. So that, yeah, there are a wide range of benefits to doing this.
I suppose we also saw COP this year, didn't we? That was a huge event, which I'm sure you had a lot of conversations around how we as a sector can sort of integrate with that and learn from what's being discussed at COP.
Yeah, COP felt huge, and I think because It was postponed last year, so we had a 2-year kind of wait for COP. So there was lots of excitement around it. There was lots of build-up around it, and I think actually critics will say it was potentially a bit of a letdown, or we didn't get where we needed to be. But big decisions had to be made, and every country had to make, it's now looking towards making big societal and economical changes to their country. And they're not changes that are just going to happen overnight. So I think one of the most important things around COP was, yes, the decisions that we came to in the end, but also just that raising awareness of climate change, everyone, whether you're in the government involved in COP, or whether you're a citizen just going about your day-to-day life.
So that was 2021. If you look ahead to 2022, what is sort of on your radar as someone who works in decarb, specifically within housing? When you look ahead to 2022, what are the big ticket things, or the things you're looking out for over the next year?
I'd say the two big things that are probably standing out for me, budget. It's always the budget, whether that's the UK government budget or the Welsh government budget. We need the funding in place to be able to reach decarbonisation targets. So that's probably number one. Number two, huge for the social housing sector, WHQS. We're expecting the consultation on WHQS to be in May, and we're expecting that to include EPCA standards, and then for that to come into force in January 2023. So how that will look is yet to see. So we'll be definitely looking out for that now next year.
Well, look, lots to look forward to. It's been a busy year, Bethan. Thank you for taking the time.
Thanks, James.